Happy birthday, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for another presidential birthday toast. I am Phil K.O.E., and this is the birthday of one Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Now, I've already taken the liberty of mixing the martini for this particular video because I wanted to get a little deeper into the source here, Mint Juleps of Teddy Roosevelt by Mark Will Weber. An excellent, excellent book. But before I get into this, I just want to say that this is a very special presidential birthday toast. The toast of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He is the president that's responsible for us being able to say, cheers. He was the president that ended Prohibition, on top of being the president that led us through a world war and a depression. The longest serving president in American history, one FDR. Funny enough, at the beginning of his life, when he was 5 years old, his father actually took him to the White House to meet the president. And then it was President Howard Taft. And President Taft actually said something quite ironic. He said, "I have but one wish for you, young man, that you do not grow up to become president of the United States." I think we are all much the better that young Franklin did not take that advice. He also, what propelled him into interest in public life was, unfortunately, the assassination of President William McKinley, which rose his distant cousin, Teddy Roosevelt, to the White House. So that would naturally kind of ingrain an interest in general public life. So young Franklin, as he grew up, and he was a well-educated man, once he finally did run for president in 1932, he won mostly on the idea that the voters were sick of the idea of prohibition. And in the end, he did prevail. Now, what's interesting is FDR enjoyed gin-based martinis and occasionally whiskey-based martinis like Manhattans. He loved mixing them as much as he liked drinking them. He also loved champagne, rum, which we'll get into a little later, brandy, and also, most importantly of all, beer. We'll get to that a little later. But also, a man after my own heart. He was also a player of cards. That's why I laid out the royal flush of spades, because that was basically the hand he ended up finding in... That's the hand he found himself with at the end of World War II. So he somehow, some way pulled it off. So we're all the better for it. Yes, the man loved to play poker, sometimes till 5, 6 in the morning. You know, great minds think alike. What can I say? The unfortunate turn was when FDR did get diagnosed with polio. He did have a hard time. There was a lot of mobility issues. When he had the idea that maybe I can get better if I start taking cruises in the Caribbean, the one libation that he kept with him a lot was the Rum Swizzle. And he even kind of made a joke about with his boat that you would have us 17 Rum Swizzle salute. And here we go, folks. I'm going to read to you FDR's Bermuda Rum Swizzle. The ingredients: 2 ounces dark rum, 1 ounce lime juice, 1 ounce orange juice, 1 generous dash of whatever sweet syrup you happen to have. But the man was a huge lover of the martini. That was something he would usually drink when he was playing poker, but the other big one was beer, and we're going to talk about that right now. In his fireside chat in 1933 of March, he said probably the 3rd most famous thing he's ever said. Obviously, the 2 most famous would be, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself," and "A day that will live in infamy." Those are definitely his 2 most famous. The 3rd one he said during this fireside chat, where he said, I think this would be a good time for beer. And here's the kicker. The day Prohibition was repealed, the famous Budweiser beer wagon, first marketed for this momentous occasion, arrived in the capital, its powerful Clydesdales clip-clopping down Pennsylvania Avenue with a gift of free brew for the new occupants of the White House. So that is actually how we got the iconic Budweiser Clydesdales carrying their wagon. They're full of beer. Came from this very occasion, Franklin Delano Roosevelt ending Prohibition. Regardless of your thoughts of FDR, good, bad, or indifferent, we are still very much living in the world of his creation. Just the fallout of it, the creation of the world post-World War II. There's really no way you could really look at it. Also, Ewing sent a truckload of specially brewed winter's beer for the White House for the special occasion. And then there's all these great stories about how he'll stay up till 6 o'clock playing poker, drinking incredibly old Scotch 1811 Napoleon brandy, which is probably Courvoisier if I had to guess. So if you were able to get yourself your hands on a bottle of Courvoisier VSOP, that would be fairly close to what we're talking about here. But yeah, the man he was known for loving all of these marvelous libations and brandies of all kinds. When he was feeling a little down in the cold weather, if he was going to New York and it was drizzling rain and it was really bad outside, he would use brandy to kind of warm himself up. Now, again, any doctor now would be like, no, there was better ways to do that. But that was what he did with what he had available to him. Now, funny enough, when Prime Minister Winston Churchill would come to the United States, he had a very specific ask list for the White House. And if you watched my Happy Birthday Winston Churchill tribute, you'd know at least kind of what to expect here. But it goes, the varying must-haves that Winston Churchill had to have were a tumbler of bedside sherry in the morning. Yes, morning. A few glasses of scotch and soda before lunchtime. And French champagne. Despite his half-American heritage, Churchill had no interest in stateside bubbly, and 90-year-old brandy before he turned in after a long day. Oof. Churchill, FDR once said of him, Churchill was the best man that England had, even if he was drunk half the time. So, quite a man, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a man who ended Prohibition, led to the end of the war, and ended a Great Depression. So that is why we raise our glass in tribute to this man. Happy birthday, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So folks, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and be sure to join me on the 6th of February for Ronald Reagan's birthday as we toast to him with a little bit of California white wine, or red wine, goodness gracious. But we'll get to that another day. But folks, we're going to raise our glass one more time on the birthday of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the President of these United States. Happy birthday, Mr. President. So folks, I will catch you around and I will see you at the next one. See you later, folks.